Hey guys, welcome to my corner of the internet. Today we're going to do part 2 of a Q&A for flight attendants, I guess. I have questions regarding training. Let's see, is it all training? Yeah, it's mostly training questions again because I feel like that's what people really want to know. And just one random question. So, yeah, let's get started. So what's the most stressful part of training? For me, it wasn't the curriculum. Like, the curriculum came really easy for me. My friends say I'm book smart, so there's that. For me, it was, I think, I feel like such an asshole saying it. For me, it was a lot to just eat, sleep, breathe the same people. But yeah, for me, it was really hard to always be around the same people, and a lot of people were kind of dramatic in my class, and apparently there was a lot of drama. Like, I stayed away from all of that, but as much as you try to stay away from all of it, it somehow gets back, and you're just like, why is there even drama? Aren't we all too old for this and stuff like that? But yeah, for me, it was just being stuck with the same people for 7 weeks. However, the trainers always said, enjoy this time because you're never going to go through this again unless you leave the company and go to another company. So yeah. Was my ditching done in a pool? No, thank God. My ditching was done at the training center, but they had the life rafts inflated and all of that, and we had our life vests, and we did the ditching, just not in water. I guess they used to do it in the swimming pool, and it just kind of turned into a hot mess because it's not like you can go to training in your swimsuits and start ditching in the pool and stuff like that, because my airline doesn't allow visible tattoos. So it's people had long sleeves on, and they're apparently tying the sleeves onto themselves so they could cover their tattoos, and it just kind of turned into this big thing. However, I did hear that my company is, well, they just invested all of this money into a ditching pool, so that they'll have a ditching pool soon. Yeah. How were my instructors? My instructors were amazing. I was so blessed and I was so lucky to have such great instructors. However, I did have one instructor. She did our evacs, and she's never worked with our class, so she didn't really know our dynamic or anything like that. But she made all of us feel like absolute shit during our practice evacs. She basically said that if today was the day for us to do our evacs, our whole class would have gone home. But she didn't even take into consideration that it was our first time doing it. We didn't, we don't know what we're doing and stuff like that. So that instructor definitely kind of killed our vibe for the day, but it was fine. I feel like all the other instructors that we had were amazing, and they have a special place in our hearts because they helped us get to graduation and stuff like that. Unfortunately, I don't really get to see any of my instructors. I don't think I've seen any of my instructors since I've been flying, except for one. Yeah, it was summer flying. They closed down the training centers for summer flying because summer flying is so crazy that they need all the flight attendants that they can get. And we saw him walking through the terminal, and I think it was at O'Hare or something. But yeah, I loved all of my instructors. They're great. And I wish I could fly with them one day, but our company is just way too big. What did I enjoy the most about training? Don't think too hard, Jennifer. I think it was definitely the bonds that I've built with my roommate and then the other 2 girls that I got close to, and knowing that experience, not everybody can experience that no matter how much they want to, because they're so they only let a certain amount of flight attendants come in and like not everyone passes and stuff like that. So I guess it's the experience and just, yeah, I think it's just the experience of it all. It's such a weird experience. It's like a weird thing to go through of like 7 weeks of eat, breathe, sleep your company and being around the same people like that for 7 weeks. And for me, because I closed myself off from so many people, that I had such a different experience than like other people did. But I wouldn't trade my experience for anybody else's experience. I chose to have the experience that I had. I chose to stick to myself, and I mean, it is what it is, right? So besides CPR, what other health things were you trained in? We were trained the Heimlich maneuver and how to use oxygen and like basic illnesses. I say illnesses because it was like hypoxia and all of these other things like that could happen on an airplane, and like stroke and heart attacks, and like how to handle things like that. The health conditions was, I don't want to say it was stressful, but definitely have note cards so you can like, so you can know your health conditions, because it's like the one little thing will change it from this to that. So that test was kind of like hard. I don't want to say that test was hard, but it was like, that was a test where I felt like I really had to pay attention and be like, okay, well, it can't be this. Oh, well, it has this, so it's not this. So yeah. And then CPR, in all honesty, still gives me kind of anxiety. I've gone through CQ, I've gone through training, but it's just like one of those things that you just like pray to God that doesn't happen. Like, it's just so scary to like, I don't know. And I know I have a medical background, like I know, but I don't know, just something about CPR, like I don't want to do it. How long were our days in training? They could have been anywhere from like 8 hours to 10 hours. I don't believe they went over 10 hours, thank God, because by that like 10-hour mark, you were just done, because I think you got 2 10-minute breaks and then like a 30-minute lunch. So it was just like a lot, and it's a lot to absorb, and sometimes it gets a little overwhelming. And for me, it was overwhelming because it was just like, I don't know, it just felt like, okay, well, today we're going to learn this, and then tomorrow we're going to learn this, but when I get back to my hotel room, I have to learn this. So it was just like, the studying part didn't bother me. I just felt like, holy crap, I want a break. I don't want to learn about aircrafts anymore, or I just want a day to do nothing. But yeah, 8 to 10 hours. What do you do during your training flight? You literally get on a flight, your company will put you on this flight, and you shadow whatever position that you're shadowing. And depending on what aircraft you're on, depending on your aircraft, you are, how would I explain that? I'm not very good at explaining this. So let's say you're on a 37, depending on the configuration, it's normally, like if you're on the Dash 9s, like the 737 Dash 9s, minimum crew is 4. So then there's the lead, the galley, and then 2 people working in the back economy. And the people who are working in the back economy, there's 1 person working the galley and then 1 person working the aisle. So you will shadow one of those 4 positions. So 1 position there and then a different position back. And normally it's like you'll shadow someone in first class one way and then someone in economy the other way. And you're just, again, shadowing them. It's a very interesting thing because you're just literally watching what they do. But it does kind of help you kind of get the vibe for it, because during training, it's not like that. Like, you don't really get to see how things are done on aircrafts because that's not really the priority. Your main priority is really safety. So you're there for safety, so that's what they really concentrate on during training. And then when you get thrown on these train flights, you're like, oh, okay, so this is how like the phases of flight work. So everything that you learn in like at the training center, and then you go onto your training flight, it all like comes together and you're just like, oh, okay, I get it. And then let's see the next question. What do you do on your IOE? So your IOE is your, what is it? In-person operating experience or something like that. But that's when you physically get on an airplane, and kind of like your training flight, you will do a first class position there and then an economy position back, but you do exactly what you would do if you passed training and you're just like a normal flight attendant. So the crew that was originally supposed to work this flight won't even know that they're not working the flight. They still get paid for it, and they sit down as passengers in your seat. Oh, so yeah, in your seat, and you work the flight. So on my training, my IOE, I was the lead there. I think I was the lead there. I know I was the lead on one of the flights, and then so my IOE was kind of a shit show. We were delayed 3 hours, and we were the first flight out. Like, out of my class, we were the first ones to leave the hotel rooms, and we were the last ones back. So we had maintenance issues, so we were delayed 3 hours, and the flight was only supposed to be like a 2-hour flight. We finally get up into the air, we do our service, and there's all this turbulence, and you're just like, oh my god, you gotta be kidding me. And then on the way back, they had to put us on a different flight because we missed our original flight because we were delayed, again, 3 hours. But I think I worked somewhere in economy. It's kind of a very nerve-wracking experience because if you don't pass your IOEs, you don't pass training. So, and then you're like on your IOEs, you're like praying to God that you don't have to do CPR on anybody, nobody throws up, or like you don't have to use the oxygen tanks. Like, you're just hoping that it's like a good, clean flight there and a good, clean flight back. Because it's just like, it's kind of scary. You're just like, but do I really want to? Like, I don't know. Again, the flight was fine. I got lucky. But yeah, that's what you do on your IOE. You just act like you've already passed training and you do the job, and then your instructor at the end of it tells you if you passed or failed, or if you're going to graduate or not. What do I do during airport standby? When I first started flying, I would hang out somewhere in my terminal. That was kind of the rule. We weren't allowed to go anywhere outside of our terminal unless we were going to go get food, but we were supposed to come straight back. Now, depending on the time of airport standby that I have, if it's like early in the morning at like 5 a.m., I just go to the sleep room. I have my blanket with me, and I'll either take a nap if I can nap, or if there's curriculums that you have to do prior to going to CQ, so I'll do things like that, or I'll watch Netflix, YouTube, I'll read, I'll write. I find things to do within those 4 hours of being on standby. When you're in a certain airport or city, is there a certain place that you have to eat at? If I'm in the Dulles airport, which is the DC airport, there's this really good pizza place. I think it's in like terminal like C, it's near gate like C23, I want to say. I could be totally wrong. But I can't even think of what this pizza place is called. I think it's called Slice. No, that doesn't sound right. Anyways, they have the best pizza. It's so good, and everybody, like all flight attendants, talk about it, and that's really how I've heard about it. And finally, on my last trip from Dulles, I got it because they were open. Normally when I go to Dulles, they're closed because I either get in really early or really late. So yeah. Anyways, guys, that's all the questions that people asked me this time, so I hope you liked this Q&A. If there's anything else you guys want to know, please leave it in the comments below and I'll be more than happy to answer them. But don't forget to tap that subscribe button and that notification bell because we upload every Mondays and Fridays, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.